Yeah. A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the session today. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Julia Patrick Inkasan, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan's inaugural lecture today. Some housekeeping before the event officially begins. I would be most grateful if you could first turn your phone into silent mode for those who are in the hall. Kindly stand up at the arrival of our Dean, Professor Dr. Yang Farida, and when our national anthem, Negaraku, as well as songs are being played. And please stay back for a photo session after the lecture. And your cooperation is greatly appreciated and your participation is very welcome. For those joining us in YouTube, we invite you to leave your greetings and comments in the comment section. We will begin shortly, but maybe we can populate the seats in the center, in the front, to make it look good in the TV. Right, so once Isaac give us the cue, we shall begin. Yeah, fill up the center.
Ni Prof punya?
Tak, ini saya punya. Tuan Nazir kot.
Oh, okey.
Dia tengah kot, dia tengah. Okey. No, dah.
Tes.
Sekejap, tunggu dia berdiri. After dia berdiri, kena. Dia steady dulu, tu badan. Negaraku. UN pun ada. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the arrival of our Dean of the Faculty of Medicine Universiti Malaya, Professor Datuk Dr. Yang Farida Abdul Aziz, accompanied by the Honorable Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan, Professor of Rehabilitation Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya. take a seat. Thank you, Senator Bersara Datuk Dr. Ras Adi Barakzi for signing negaraku in Bahasa Isyarat Malaysia. Ke pekan Sungai Buloh mencari bingka sambil mencari karunia. Tirai majlis telah dibuka. Kehadiran anda semua amatlah bermakna. Salam sejahtera diucapkan kepada semua hadirin yang dihormati sekalian. Selamat datang ke Syarahan Perdana Prof. Dr. Nazirah Hasnan pada hari yang berbahagia ini. Izinkan saya untuk bertutur dalam bahasa Inggeris untuk sama-sama menghormati dan meraihkan para hadirin dari luar negara. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Dr. Basri Hussein to lead the doa recital.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions. Allah ya Rahman ya Rahim. All praise be to Allah upon your permission for giving the chance for us to assemble today for the inaugural lecture of Professor Dr. Nazirah binti Hasnan, Professor of Rehabilitation Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, University Malaya. We pray for your blessing to preserve this ceremony running smoothly and successfully. Birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma ftah alaina futuhal arifin. Ya Allah, make the days that we've gone through, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessing, and ended with your forgiveness. And also make the days that we've gone through with guidance, and end with the victory of excellence. In conjunction with this event, we ask for your help and guidance. Kindly give us strength and courage to face the struggle to find and gain knowledge. Allah ya Karim ya Alim, please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayat. Please guide the team University Malaya to greatness, peace, glory and prosperity in this world and hereafter. Make us a responsible intellectual, grant us with reliable knowledge that will be beneficial to mankind in order to gain your mardatillah. And please forgive us for our wrongdoing. Bestow patience in us in order to face the challenge from you. Please accept our deeds and please reward us accordingly. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Yang Farida Abdul Aziz, the Honourable Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan, Professor of Rehabilitation Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya, Yang Berusaha Profesor Dr. Yvonne Lim Ailian, Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International, Universiti Malaya, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Profesor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Muhammad Amin Jalaluddin, Senior Consultant, Department of Otolaryngology, Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya, Management of Universiti Malaya, Management of Faculty of Medicine, Management of Universiti Malaya Medical Centre, distinguished guests, professors, doctors, ladies and gentlemen, who are joining the inaugural lecture virtually and physically today to this very special event hosted by the Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya. I am Associate Professor Dr. Julia Patrick Inkasan, and I am honoured to be the Master of Ceremony for the inaugural lecture of my inspiring lecturer and colleague, Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan. A professor's inaugural lecture is one of the Universiti Malaya's cherished traditions. This lecture honours the professional journeys taken by our professors and provides an opportunity for them to share their wisdom, inspiration, and philosophies. We are grateful to be here today has an audience for this inaugural lecture by Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan, a committed and enthusiastic Professor of Rehabilitation Medicine at the Department of Rehabilitation Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, University Malaya. Today, Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan will be sharing her journey in the field with us in this inaugural lecture entitled Create to Rehabilitate. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Professor Dr. Yang Farida, to chair the lecture and subsequently introduce Dr. Nazirah Hasnan. Please welcome Professor Dr. Yang Farida.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. The Honorable Professor Dr. Nazirah Hassan, the very person that we're all here today to celebrate. Datuk Muhammad Zahur Hussein, member of the Board of Directors, University Malaya, as well as Chairman of the Board of Management, University Malaya Medical Centre. Professor Dr. Yvonne Lim Ailian, welcome back, Prof. Associate Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International, University Malaya. Professor Ulong, Datuk Dr. Lui Lai Ming, thank you for being here with us. Tan Sri Professor Emeritus, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Amin Jalaluddin, as well as another alumnus of University Malaya, Professor Datuk Dr. Zaliha Omar. Thank you again for being with us today. I think this event would not have been the same without you. Management of University Malaya, Management of Faculty of Medicine, Management of University Malaya Medical Centre, to all my professors who are my colleagues, as well as to all the professors that had taught me before, I welcome you. To all my fellow colleagues of the Faculty of Medicine and University Malaya Medical Centre, to all the beautiful patients and friends of Professor Nazirah who are here with us today, as well as an alumnus of Bukit Bintang Girls' School. We pledge to thee, BBSian, all of you here today who are with us either physically here as well as virtually online. Today, we have the privilege of hearing Professor Nazirah Hassan on her inaugural lecture. Now, there's not many things that I would have thought that I would enjoy being a dean of the Faculty of Medicine. I think this is one of the things that I think I will enjoy. And this is my first oration that I have to give for a friend for their inaugural lecture. And of course, it has to be Professor Nazirah Hassan. I am so blessed, I am so proud, I am so honored. Now let me tell you a little bit about Professor Nazirah Hassan. She was Hasnan. Sorry, I'm so excited that I even got your name wrong. Sorry, Nazi. She was born in Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Malaysia. She earned her MBBS and as well as her Masters of Rehab Medicine from University Malaya. So one of the thoroughbreds of University Malaya. And she completed a PhD in Rehabilitation in 2014 under the University Malaya, University of Sydney Joint Doctorate Program. So when you're listening to her, please remember she comes with all these degrees. So well done. She is a leader in rehabilitation medicine. She has advanced spinal cord injury rehabilitation, wound management, functional electrical stimulation, and assisted technology for rehabilitation. She has been a lecturer and consultant rehabilitation physician in her alma mater since 2001 and the director of University Malaya Medical Centre since November 2020. As if it was not enough, all the things that she did. You know, as a physician, she also has been entrusted to be the director of our University Malaya Medical Centre. Nationally, she serves on the National Rehabilitation Medicine Conjoint Board and chairs the consortium Hospital University Awam Malaysia, also known as QAM. She is the past president of the Malaysian Association of Rehabilitation Physicians. Outside academia, she has led projects and advised organizations supporting persons with disabilities, such as the Malaysian Spinal Cord Injury Advocacy Association and Dive Heart Malaysia. Her work in rehabilitation medicine and community engagement makes her a true medical pioneer. Now that's the official story. What about the unofficial, beloved story of Nazirah? She is my junior 1 year in MBBS, University Malaya. I have to say that. Because, I will always say, Nazi, whatever happens, I'm your senior. And, in medicine, seniority counts. So I milk it for all I want, right? She is a beloved mother, mother to her children, a beautiful daughter to her mother and parents that have passed away. And she also is a wonderful friend to me personally and to a lot of us. And before I end, I just want to say her favorite color is purple. So if you want to get her anything, purple is the way to go. Without much further ado, I do want to please let us sit back and listen to the inspiring journey of Professor Nazirah Hasnan and her inaugural lecture entitled Create to Rehabilitate. Off you go, Nazirah. All the best.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction, Professor Datuk Yang Farida, Dean of Medicine. Thank you, Prof. Julia, for agreeing and being available to be MC today. A special thank you to Dr. Basri for agreeing to recite the doa today. And Yang Senator Bersara, Datuk Dr. Ras Adi Baradzi, for signing the national anthem today. Thank you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all colleagues, mentors and teachers, students, friends and family members, my patients, all distinguished guests who are here for my Syarahan Perdana. Thank you for making time to come today. I know that some of you had to apply for leave. Some had to create some magic in your schedule. So I really, truly appreciate that, truly humbled, and appreciate your presence here. So let me open the presentation. I was supposed to do that first. So that's the title of my lecture today. But before I start, let me thank the production team, Vicom at FOM, penerbit at UM, Prof. Mazlina, and the team from Department of Rehabilitation Medicine, the Higher Management, Corporate Communications, and Security Office of PPM for making all the preparations and ensuring that today's lecture runs smoothly. Thank you very much for your support. And now, I will do my part. Before I begin, I would like to give an intro to my childhood, school years, and university years. I was born in Petaling Jaya, in Asunta Hospital. Firstborn to my parents, Allah Yarham Hasnan Fazil Darus, and Allah Yarham Jamaliah Mahmud. I'm the eldest of 5, the only girl, and was an obedient child who only feebly protested when her father said she had to do medicine and she had to do it in UM, nowhere else. I couldn't go away, far away from home. That's me and my brother Zul. I thought I'd share the photo because, it's so typical of the 70s photo, black and white, with the TV on the stand like that, and the Encyclopedia Britannica bookcase, and the sheepskin rug in front of the TV. Our mother had knitted the beanie that Zul was wearing, and the shawl that I was wearing. Thank you, Zul and Hani, for being here. Naili, my niece, I think she's not arrived yet. Datin Paduka, Dr. Halimatun Sadia, my auntie, thank you for being here. And Auntie Yam, a dear friend of my parents, for being here today. I think the Asuntarians outnumber the BBGS girls today. I went to Asunta Primary 2 and then Asunta Secondary. The school motto is to truth through charity, which is ingrained in all Asuntarians. And I hope Sister Enda, who passed away in April this year, is looking down with a smiling Irish eyes on us. My Form 5 class was quite a fun one and very creative. You can see me sitting on the shoe there, looking like a gangster. And I found our class, Form 5 class photo with signatures behind it. So I don't know if kids nowadays have got this trend. I don't think so. And that's a photo of the batch of 1985 at a reunion with Sister Enda about 10 years ago. I see some of you here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Asunta Badis, for being here. And please keep the batu seremban and the bottle caps until the end. That's not for play during class. I went to UM Medical School in this very faculty and have had the best experience in my life. Batch 88, 93. Where are you? Say yeah. I did a lot of things, academic and non-academic. Our batch was a very fun one, very tolerant, very chill, and most importantly, very supportive of each other, cheering each other on until today, celebrating successes, milestones, and comforting each other when times are hard and grieving for losses. I don't remember ever feeling any regret or feeling sad or unhappy in medical school. So I was one of those very lucky ones who totally enjoyed medical school. And I think my classmates enjoyed their medical school years as well because we've had quite a number of successful reunions. And I think our reunion was the only one which was ever featured in the Star newspaper last year. Good job, people. So now we go to the next one, which is an introduction to rehabilitation. So the noun rehabilitation comes from the Latin prefix re, which means again, and habitare, meaning make fit, so to make fit again. Rehabilitation expands the focus of health beyond preventative and curative care to ensure persons with health conditions can remain as independent as possible and participate in education, work, and meaningful life roles. The World Health Organization reports that globally, 1 in 3 persons today are estimated to be living with a health condition that would benefit from rehabilitation. So maybe 50 of us in this room today will need rehabilitation. I know I need rehabilitation. I injured my knee about 2 months ago and I'm still requiring rehabilitation for my knee. However, these growing rehabilitation needs are largely unmet around the world. With more than half of the population in many countries not receiving essential rehabilitation due to shortage of rehabilitation workforces, as well as a widespread lack of awareness among healthcare providers of the importance of rehabilitation. I think I spent half my life as a rehab physician asking to be referred to. And I think that still stands in many organizations, many hospitals, that people don't still, other healthcare providers do not still understand rehabilitation and rehabilitation physicians and rehabilitation professionals will have to explain what we do and how we make changes to the patients that we care for. Rehabilitation involves more than just hospital-based treatment, but aim at community integration, helping that individual to reach optimal functional ability, level of wellness, quality of life, medically, physically, and psychosocially. Therefore, it is important that a physician considers more than just treating diseases, but to treat patients holistically with return to functioning in the community in mind. Yes, we have two past senators in the parliament here. Senator Bersara Batma, Senator Bersara Datuk Ras Adibaradzi. Rehabilitation medicine is concerned with improving functioning through the diagnosis and treatment of health conditions, reducing impairments, and preventing or treating complications. The fundamental goal of rehabilitation is to add life to years, not just years to life. And here we have Rajvin, Miss Amazing Smile, Malaysia, a laughter yoga coach, always so full of life, whose motto is smile and laugh. It's a gift of life to cherish. Thank you, Rajvin, and Dad, Dr. Pal Singh, for being here today. Principles to approaches to rehabilitation include approaches to reduce disability, approaches designed to acquire new skills and strategies which will reduce the impact of disability, and approaches that help alter the environment, both the physical environment and social environment, to promote activity and participation. We have this man who is an amputee, and to reduce his disability, we prescribe a prosthesis. And we provide gait training so that he's able to walk in his prosthesis. So that's strategies and skills. And we help to ensure good weight management, good pain management, so that reduces the impact of disability, and prescribe modifications to the car so that he's able to drive again, so that he is able to participate in the community. And if he wants to run, there's always a special prosthesis that we can fit for him. So that's how rehab impacts a person with disability. The WHO estimated about 16% of the world's population to have some form of disability. That is 1 in 6 of us, and 2 to 4% experience significant disability in functioning. Rates of disability are on the increasing trend due to population aging and increases in chronic health conditions. This number is growing because of an increase in non-communicable diseases, and people are living longer. Now, the hard truth. Health inequities arise from unfair conditions faced by people with disabilities, including stigma, discrimination, poverty, exclusion from education, exclusion from employment, barriers due to the environment, and even barriers faced in the health system itself. As a result, people with disabilities have twice the risk of developing conditions such as depression, asthma, diabetes, stroke, obesity, or poor oral health. They have more fragile health, and some die up to 20 years earlier than those without disabilities. The crux of this matter is that people with disabilities have less access to healthcare services and therefore experience unmet healthcare needs. In 2001, the WHO established a new definition of disability based on human rights or social models, and focuses on the interaction between a person with disability and the environment. Disability is an umbrella term which refers to 3 areas or 3 components. Impairment, which refers to problems in the body function or structure. Sometimes you have a look and the body structure is there, but the function is not there. And that is in the case of people who are paralyzed. There's no loss to the body function, to the body structure, but they are paralyzed and unable to move. The second one is activity limitations, referring to difficulties in performing activities of daily living, things that you and I take for granted. And the third one, participation restriction, referring to problems in life areas. And all three are impacted by environmental barriers, personal factors, such as attitudes, accessibility, self-esteem, and motivation. You can imagine that this works differently in different environments. And that is how we can make the change, and that is how we can make the difference. My interest in rehabilitation, it stemmed from the fortunate, life-changing encounter with my mentor, Professor Dr. Zaliha Omar, during my orthopedic surgery posting in 4th year MBBS. We only had a brief introduction to rehabilitation, but what struck me then was this was a medical specialty that fully subscribed to the famous Harvey Cushing's quote. I was one of those lucky ones who knew what she wanted to do, who knew what she wanted to be when she grew up. Professor Zaliha recently received the Herman J. Flex Award, the highest tribute award by the International Society of Physical and Rehabilitation Medicine. Congrats, Datuk. We are very proud of you. We love you very much. So those are pictures from my exams, from my exit exams. My internal examiner was Professor Philip Poi. External examiner, Professor Ralph Bushbacher from the US, who introduced and taught us techniques of nerve conduction studies. And we are also so blessed to have our support system, the staff in the clinic, the staff at the department. It wasn't easy being the first batch of a new program when you are still grappling with finding out what is rehabilitation. Are you really doing the right thing? And people asking you, what are you doing? So, 1995 to 2001. So I started my training in 1997, graduated in 2001. And during this period, there was only a handful of rehabilitation physicians, all located in the Greater Klang Valley. And, tada, today, 27 years on, there are 146 rehabilitation physicians all over the country, all states of Malaysia. 96% are graduates of University Malaya. UM, through University Hospital then, now Pusat Perubatan Universiti Malaya, has been a conducive environment for our training, having had a multidisciplinary rehabilitation unit incorporated into the building at the outside. Even in 1968, University Hospital already had a rehabilitation block. Can you believe it? And we owe that to the genius of Professor Tan Sri Danaraj, the founder of our beloved faculty and hospital, and this beautiful lecture hall is named after Tan Sri Danaraj. Coming in through the UM trainee lecturer scheme, I was very fortunate to have had a year's training in Melbourne Extended Care and Rehabilitation. You must be wondering, why only 2 photos? I spent hours and hours looking for my photos in Melbourne. I could only find one of me with Daniel and Alia and Professor Peter Disler and Jenny the dog, whom Alia rode on like a little pony. But it's a real photo. It wasn't a random stranger. Professor Peter Disler was there at our graduation. And he said he was a proud father of Malaysia's future rehabilitation. And Yusniza, between me and Tan Sri Anwar Zaini, she went on to become the National Head of Rehabilitation Services in MOH, Yus. And Remy is not here yet. Remy became one of the pioneers in private rehabilitation services, following Datin Paduka Dr. Tunku Nur Ta'ayah. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. So the Australian experience was a very important one. It helped me understand that successful rehabilitation of patients have to be supported by community and government policies. So we cannot be just happy to be clinicians. We have to be involved with looking at standards, with looking at policies. Advancing the training of rehabilitation physicians must be accompanied with the advancement of other rehab professionals. That is also important. So we continued to build the number of specialists over the years, and this led to the start of a more structured and specialized medical rehabilitation services in the country through the Ministry of Health. As pioneers in rehabilitation, we often get asked to speak on how we develop rehabilitation medicine in the country. And we tell people, how do we develop rehab medicine in the country? It's through capacity building, it's through training. Without training, without producing the workforce, you will not be able to build the services. And I'm proud to say that I think we have contributed to the building of workforce for rehabilitation in the whole of Malaysia. The multi-pronged strategies to develop rehab in this country, as I said, was through capacity building, the workforce, not just rehab physicians, but nursing and allied health professionals that make an integral part of the multidisciplinary service that provide rehabilitation interventions, being involved in policy making at national level, integrating rehabilitation into mainstream healthcare services, through establishing rehab services in all state hospitals, establishing rehab medicine in the National Specialist Register, implementation of the Allied Health Professional Act, and, this is very important, creating a national budget for integrated rehabilitation in the country. The WHO has endorsed the historic resolution on strengthening rehabilitation in health system. What it means is that rehab is no longer at the end of care, but to be integrated in mainstream health services. And to do this, the country's health system have to have in place governance and leadership in rehabilitation, financing, health information system, health workforce, and essential medicine and technology. Where are we with regards to strengthening rehab in Malaysia? Not too bad, not bad at all. A situational analysis by WHO in 2019 focused on the 5 elements, assured us that we have established policies in place, except in some areas that need a little bit of work, or there is some where we do not have any at all, such as national health insurance. We do not have a health insurance. But assistive technology, adequate workforce, these are areas that we need to develop. Integrating the subject of disability in undergraduate curricula, this is still not very well developed, and having dedicated national disability survey. Malaysia is on track in integrating rehabilitation into our health system. Thank you to Yusniza, Dr. Saari, and our MOH gang. Thus improving the well-being and socio-economic participation of people with disabilities in line with the WHO call for action, Rehab 2030, in addressing global rehabilitation needs. I am very proud that in we introduced to our medical students the concept of functioning, disability and health in the language and medicine block. Prof Yang, we do this very early on, as they start their medical education, and I hope to see this incorporated into other medical and health sciences curricula in the country. So in this lecture, our medical students are introduced to the concept of disability, the Convention of the Rights of People with Disabilities, and the dimensions and principles of accessibility. Since the inception of this lecture series, I've invited my patients to be a guest speaker, as is evidence that PWD themselves are the best people to raise awareness on disability-inclusive practices in the training of healthcare professionals. The late Peter Tan, Rizal's here today, and Dr. Nazirah have been regular speakers. I'm very grateful for their time and commitment. Academic rehabilitation medicine in has developed over the years. From a section in Department of Orthopedic Surgery, Prof. Sarah, do you remember that? To a unit in Department of Allied Health Sciences, and finally an independent department in 2007. The clinical service grew rapidly alongside with the introduction of specialized rehabilitation services. Through what she called blood, sweat and tears, Professor Zaleha and the hospital management secured a development grant, and this was obtained by the hospital in 2005. Datin, Latifah, you're here today. You're one of those who helped us. And this grant was used to develop a comprehensive rehabilitation and sports facilities to expand clinical services and also support the clinical master training to what we have now in Menara Selatan PPUM. It is unfortunate that at the time we managed to get the grant, and by the time the building was ready, Professor Zaleha has already semi-retired, but we still make her come back to work. So thank you for your generosity, Prof. Zaleha. So this was perhaps the start of my journey into hospital administration, which I will speak about later. So next we go into spinal cord injury, my area of specialty. The term SCI refers to the damages to the spinal cord resulting from trauma or non-traumatic cases, not the bone, not the spine, but the spinal cord within the spine. Thank you, my spine surgeons, for being here with me today. And the extent of SCI-related impairment depends on the severity and level of injury. The first known reported cases of spinal cord injury were found in the Edwin Smith surgical papyrus, estimated to have been between 1500 to 1550 BC, possibly by Imhotep, in which a diagnosis of crushed vertebra in the neck was made in one of the cases, and that it was said to be an ailment not to be treated. Thankfully, looking back on the history of SCI, it is evident that a lot has progressed over the years. We are now seeing patients with SCI, individuals with SCI, living successful, enriching lives in the community. Poor understanding on the pathophysiology of SCI, inappropriate management of SCI-related impairments, and secondary condition has caused premature mortality. Prior to World War I, there was high mortality among spinal cord injury patients, with more than 80% dying because of urinary tract infections and pressure injuries. World War II produced more spinal cord injury patients, but with higher survival rates through improved understanding in the management of bladder dysfunction, secondary to SCI, and improved nursing care. It's very essential that we have good nursing care in the management of spinal cord injury. Post-World War II, Sir Ludwig Gutmann, a neurosurgeon at the Stoke Mandeville Hospital, UK, revolutionized the treatment of spinal cord injury patients and transformed the lives of countless survivors. We have Fiona Barr here, who has trained in Stoke Mandeville before. Thank you, Fiona, for being here. It was, So that's Sir Ludwig Gutmann. It was also Sir Ludwig Gutmann who believed that sports should be integrated into rehabilitation. And as a result, he founded the Stoke Mandeville Games, which is now known as the Paralympic Games. In the literature, SCI described as a catastrophic injury with devastating physical, social, and economic consequences, affecting the long-term health and functioning of the individual, including community participation. The most well-known individual for SCI is Christopher Reeves, best known for playing Superman. He has since passed on, but his legacy on support and funding of SCI advancement and research on cure for SCI continues through the Christopher Reeves Foundation. Applying the ICF framework, which I showed you earlier, to SCI. So we have here a person with a health condition, spinal cord injury. He's paralyzed and has loss of sensation below the injury, so there's loss of function there, and causing difficulties with functioning, and resulting in restrictions in community participation. So he's unable to participate in social activities and could not attend school. The disability arising from this is highly influenced by an environment he lives in, as well as personal factors, including his social support system. The direct clinical consequences of spinal cord injury may include partial or complete loss of sensory function or motor control of arms, legs, and body, and loss of autonomous function of the blood pressure, bladder, bowel, and sexual functions. This lead to secondary conditions and risk of long-term health complications that go beyond the spine and spinal cord with multi-system involvement and psychosocial impact. That tiny spinal cord, which is just the length of 18 inches and the size of the diameter of your little finger, can cause so much havoc in the body. It's the communication between the brain and the rest of the body. Interventions for spinal cord injury rehab are tailored to the individual's needs to support persons with spinal cord injury to achieve and maintain their optimal levels of functioning, to restoring body function, learning strategies to compensate impaired functions, and activities including assistive products and technology, and removing environmental barriers. This continues through the acute hospital and rehabilitation settings, a subsequent comprehensive interdisciplinary coordinated outpatient program, and lifelong follow-up. And thus, rehab supports people with spinal cord injury to perform activities independently and to reintegrate into the society and community, including vocational reintegration. People with spinal cord injury are living longer and more fulfilling lives than the generations before them due to improvements in emergency and acute care services, which allows them to survive the initial spinal cord injury. There's improvement in the access to healthcare and rehabilitation, the availability of newer technologies, and increase in societal or social services, and more accessible environment. However, the literature still shows that life expectancy among persons with spinal cord injury is still quite diminished. Persons with SCI have a greater risk of developing secondary conditions and cardiovascular diseases compared to the general population due to the forced sedentary lifestyle as a wheelchair user. Therefore, interventions for spinal cord injury rehab also comprise strategies to prevent the development of secondary conditions, thereby contributing to increased life expectancy and maintenance of optimal functioning. Exercise is a potent means as an active intervention post-SCI for long-lasting effects on health, preservation of the body and functioning. However, exercise itself poses various challenges, including what to do, who's suitable to exercise, who's not, who do they go to, where do they go to, are there many places which are wheelchair accessible, when do they exercise, and why? Why do they need to exercise? My family tells me that I'm sick. My family tells me I sakit. Why should I exercise? So for my set of patients who are unable to perform lower limb exercises because their legs are paralyzed, upper limb exercises are not adequate. They are inefficient, and there's increased risk of upper extremities overuse and injuries. And this renders them further disabilities and limitation to participation. One does not need to be a Paralympic athlete to exercise. However, being fit and healthy will open up opportunities for many people with disabilities. So in rehab, we incorporate exercise or fitness program into even the active rehab in patients as well as outpatient program. My patients who are paralyzed in the lower limbs used to ask me what kind of exercise should they do to keep fit and prevent chronic diseases. I used to be quite guilty because I did know better and said, push your wheelchair harder. Sorry, people. Do arm suckling. Go play sports. But research has shown that upper limb exercises are physically demanding. Arm exercise capacity is limited, and there is high potential of overuse injuries of the upper limb. Upper limb exercise only elicits small increases in maximal aerobic power. The cardiac output does not increase as expected for the exercise intensity performed. You work so hard, but you don't get the benefit of exercise. And it shows different physiological adaptations compared to the lower limb exercises. So this led me to the next phase in my academic career, in which I undertook a PhD in the area of spinal cord injury and physical activity through a cord-to-tail agreement between University of Sydney and UM under the supervision of Professor Glenn Davis, a clinical exercise physiologist, Professor James Middleton, a rehabilitation physician, and Professor Ruby Hussein, who's sitting over there, my physiology lecturer from year 1 MBBS. Thank you so much, Prof. Ruby, for being here. Thank you for mentoring me. I was based at the Clinical Exercise and Rehabilitation Unit, CERU, Faculty of Health Sciences, Cumberland campus, where physical activity and exercise was a way of life, where lunch meant exercise. Lunch didn't mean food. In my PhD, we combine exercise and technology through cycling, functional electrical stimulation, and virtual reality. This enabled awakening of the paralyzed muscles through electrical currents with physiological benefits on the cardiorespiratory system, lower limb circulation, and muscle metabolism. You need to get the muscles working. So this is Greg, one of our research subjects. And Greg is completely paralyzed from chest down. You can see in the video his thigh muscles contracting, enabling him to cycle the exercise bike. So that's not passive cycling. However, FES alone does not lead to those potent cardiorespiratory benefits. So arm exercise is not enough, leg exercise only is not enough. So we decided to combine these two. And we combine arm exercise and FES lower limb exercise, and we call it a hybrid cycling, in which we showed that this combination led to increased gains in cardiorespiratory fitness and muscle oxygenation compared to arm or leg exercise alone at submaximal exercise intensities. So even at moderate intensity exercises, they can get benefit of exercise. The PhD, I started my PhD at the age of 40, and I was a head of department before that. And being a student was very humbling. I went back to uni. I had to do everything myself. I didn't have, this team of people working with me. So yes, I miss all of you when I was in Sydney Uni. So I had to do everything myself. The PhD taught me how to use several new techniques as well, like cardiopulmonary exercise testing. I knew how to do near-infrared spectroscopy measurement, which look at muscle oxygenation. And I even made a video for my subsequent study. So the next phase of my study was using VR technology. And this VR, I sweated through it because I did the recording myself. I incorporated the video recording into the software program. And so what we did was we used the cycling circuit around the Cumberland campus, and we video recorded it, incorporated into the VR cycling software, and then we compared indoor and outdoor hybrid cycling. So we are still using arm and leg using FES, and we found indoor cycling produced similar physiological and psychological responses as outdoor. So if it rains outside, you can't use the rain as an excuse. You can exercise indoor. If you say that it's boring to exercise indoor, you can exercise outdoor, because exercising indoor and outdoor produces the same physiological and psychological benefits. So I think it doesn't just apply to SCI, doesn't just apply to people who are paralyzed, doesn't just apply to FES technology, it applies to each and every one of us. In the Malaysian cohort of persons with chronic SCI who were previously sedentary, we showed that aerobic fitness, thigh muscle mass, mood, and post-exercise feeling states were significantly improved in as short as 6 weeks hybrid FES cycling program using VR as a feedback to exercise harder and following the American College of Sports Medicine exercise prescription for special population protocol. I remember Johannes is sitting over here, getting very excited looking at her muscles growing. The FES felt like magic to many of our research subjects who have not seen their muscles contracting for many years, some even more than 20 years. And this created hope for functional restoration. It is our aim to build our own local, affordable FES device, which we hope will come to fruition with recent developments. Other than exercise, FES has many other indications. It is envisioned that together with emerging advanced robotic technologies, we will be able to improve functioning and participation, prevent decline and regression, and maintain healthy living. I'll play a short video of Johannes talking about her FES experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Johannes from Malaysia. When I first introduced to FES when I visited Prof. Nazirah at the Feasibility Centre at the University of Sydney. I was in Melbourne at that time. I love it. Then when we both back in Malaysia, so I joined her research project for 6 weeks, and the session is about 3 times a week. And during that duration of doing FES, I've increased my circumference of my thigh for about 3 centimeters. That was great. Ever since that, I've been volunteered and recruited as participants for any of the FES project conducted by University of Malaya. It is great. I mean, I've benefited a lot from it, not just the fitness level, as well as the well-being. The only wish is that because everything is done in a laboratory setting, so I wish that FES can be made available for other people, make it like readily available, make it portable, so that people can use it at any time outdoor instead of having it in a lab setting. And I have done both the hybrid and also the rehab bicycle, and I've enjoyed more of the hybrid where you use your arms and your legs at the same time, because that will actually give you more benefit rather than just passive cycling. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank you so much for the opportunity for me to be involved in FES project, and sincerely hope that in the future this FES will be made available for other people, in terms of availability, in terms of portable, make it portable and also affordable for everyone. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johannes. Johannes is a lecturer at the Faculty of Sports in UM. And I know that there are some engineering students here, so you heard what Johannes said. We hope that we'll be able to create devices that are portable and as well as affordable. So, Seru at Sydney Uni, a clinical and research hub for exercise and technology, was the inspiration for CREATE at PPUM. So some of you may have wondered, why CREATE as a topic? So you could have noticed that I've used CREATE a few times throughout the lecture. So CREATE at PPUM is Center for Rehabilitation, Assistive Technology and Exercise, and it became our own clinical and research hub. The FES research team further expanded our research area into investigating biomechanical aspects of cycling, muscle fatigue, dose potency, and standing with FES, producing many FYP projects, masters, and a couple of PhDs, and hopefully contribute to the understanding of exercise, technology in rehabilitation, and the production of affordable technologies for general use. Innovative technology in rehab has grown substantially over the years, and the rehab professionals are increasingly getting more involved in testing, developing, and modifying new and existing technologies alongside engineers and developers. So, I love you, engineers. These new developments and approaches to clinical care and research have now transformed CREATE to be a clinic for rehabilitation, assistive and advanced technology and exercise, the first of its kind in this region, where we have visiting biomedical engineers, our colleagues from Faculty of Engineering in our combined multidisciplinary services. I would like to acknowledge Prof. Nur Azhar Hamzaid and the Department of Biomedical Engineering UM for their commitment to this effort. So is it in your KPI now? This is the long-term vision of CREATE, where a transdisciplinary approach to rehabilitation involving the rehabilitation engineer on site is a norm in all rehab settings. Dr. Sari, maybe we can have this in the MOH hospitals as well. The impact is far-reaching, not just to patient care and outcomes, but to education and training of our undergraduate and postgraduate students. This also includes involvement of industry partners in complementing research and innovation. CREATE was also the platform where we, Prof. Nur Azhar and I, went a little bit crazy. We worked together in preparing the participation in an international FES cycling competition in Switzerland called Cyberthlon. So this is a competition where it's not the people who are competing, but the technologies are competing. So we've got category of prosthetics, we've got category of robotics, we have category of FES, we've got category of BCI, brain computer interface. So the individuals using these technologies, they're called pilots. So our pilot was Greg. And so this was in collaboration with our research partners in Sydney Uni. And we were involved because the research bike that was being used was my research bike. And I was the one who understood how the research bike worked very well. So we used CREATE to prepare for the competition and assisted by Putri Nur Farhana. And this also led to a PhD thesis by Putri, who finished her PhD early this year. One of the fundamentals of rehab is community reintegration, and much of our work involves working with disabled people organisations. And I'm very honoured to be medical advisors to Malaysian Spinal Injury Advocacy Association, MASA, Basri, Rizal, OKU Central, Datuk Rasadiba, Deaf Heart Malaysia, Tuan Syed, I think he's not able to come. And I was also past advisor to Malaysian Spinal Injuries Association, Azari. We worked together before, advising on various programs such as CI education, active wheelchair skills, independent living, sexuality workshops, women with SCI and disability issues, caregiver supports, accessibility and transportation issues, and introducing adaptive scuba diving for people with disabilities. Thank you all for being here today. So this is my other family, the Malaysian Association of Rehabilitation Physicians. It was formalized in 2011, but we existed long before that. We are a fast-growing society with young, dynamic members, taking cue from the ever-energetic founding president, Professor Datuk Dr. Zaliha Omar, sitting here dragging the current president, Professor Fazah Akhtar Hanafiah. Fazah was a former student. Fazah has done very well. Fazah is the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, UITM, and she's unable to be here today. She was going to come, but as a Dean, she had other duties. Prof. Yang, you would understand. I'm immediate past president after holding office for 2 terms, mainly during COVID. We organize annual meetings, training, support members in their training and meetings, and celebrate achievements, and champion the development and expansion of rehab in this country and our members internationally. So next, the other area of interest, scuba diving. It is well established that water is the best natural medium for the rehabilitation of injuries and chronic diseases. Swimming is one of the best forms of exercise for toning of muscles, strengthening cardiovascular system, and improving joint mobility. Scuba diving is almost an ideal sport for all persons with disabilities, as it connects adventure and experiencing nature with moderate physical effort and training. It provides unique opportunity for three-dimensional movements through gravity-free environment, giving the experience of weightlessness and freedom from impairment. Scuba diving for PWDs have been shown to be an enriching experience, potentially helping to improve self-image and quality of life. This is Nur Arshad, who has an above-knee amputation from bone cancer. Nur Aisha swims like a fish and is a natural underwater. Being a scuba diver helped her realize her true potential and abilities. She has now gone on to do competitive wheelchair fencing and has taken part in international competitions. Through Kids Scuba Malaysia and Dive Hard International, the Department of Rehabilitation Medicine is the first and only centre to offer this experience to our patients and others in the community, in collaboration with partners such as University Malaysia Terengganu. Why did we partner with UMT? Because they've got an island called Pulau Bedong, because they've got a dive centre in Pulau Bedong, because they've got all the supports there. So, and the other partner is RHB Islamic Bank, whose colour is blue, and the CSR that they adopt is for underwater rehabilitation. So they signed an MOU with on coral rehabilitation. Prof, Yvonne, you would know this, on coral rehabilitation. And I thought, RHB Islamic, coral rehabilitation. What about rehabilitation of people? And then we got together, and RHB Islamic has extended the MOU to us, working with scuba diving for people with disabilities. So this venture has been a remarkable experience, not just for the patients and families, but for members of the rehabilitation team and myself, who have taken up scuba diving ourselves and went on to become certified adaptive divers, assisting disabled divers from ground to underwater. If I ask people to put up their hand here, how many of you are adaptive scuba divers here? Alia, you are too. I would like to thank Tuan Syed Abdul Rahman of Kids Scuba for the collaboration and for introducing the scuba diving for people with disabilities to us. One of the benefits of new growing specialty is that much of our work involved international collaborations, because we were not quite known in this country, so we had to look out for partnerships and for support. And what we did was, throughout the years, training, research, consultative work, and capacity building. Being a country representative in the Asian Spinal Cord Network, or ASCON, has created opportunities not just for myself, but for many members of the multidisciplinary rehab fraternity in Malaysia. Not just doctors, but allied health professionals and nurses as well, through conferences, courses, and workshops organized annually by member countries. Being affiliated to the International Spinal Cord Society, Malaysia through ASCON has been part of several international projects, many of which involving the WHO, producing landmark documents for spinal cord injury care, such as the WHO International Perspectives of Spinal Cord Injury, the elearn.sci.org, a free comprehensive online module for multidisciplinary SCI care, the International Spinal Cord Injury Survey involving 22 countries, focused on the lived experience of persons with SCI. I was national lead for the first phase, and Prof. Julia Patrick is now the lead for the second phase of the INSCI project. And from the INSCI survey, we learn a lot. We learned that there is a need to create awareness among the general public on the importance of spinal cord injury prevention and the society requirement to respond to the unmet needs of people with spinal cord injury in Malaysia. The breadth and depth of services available for spinal cord injury patients have significantly improved over the past decade, but the societal response to health and social needs of persons with spinal cord injury is still deficient. So there's still a lot to do out there. As a close-knit international community, we were very devastated when the Nepal earthquake struck in April 2015 and had directly affected our colleagues in Kathmandu, Nepal. Malaysia was one of the countries that responded to their call for help to assist with the management of the increased number of spinal injured patients and training of the local people as rehabilitation aid workers, with support from Mercy Malaysia. Amara, thank you for the ride together with this. For our multidisciplinary team from Malaysia, it was a life-changing experience. Working in devastated environment with limited resources, we learned as we assisted, and we connected with international relief agencies and foreign medical teams as well. The Nepal government realized later that the assistance required a longer-term planning and expansion to other areas besides spinal cord injury rehab. So the 2-week emergency rehab service, which we started, then turned into an extended commitment to evolve into capacity building program in Nepal as a means to bridge the needs of the disrupted healthcare services there over the next 3 years. Next chapter would be on my role as an administrator. So my early days as rehab head of department. I was not quite ready for the early retirement of Professor Datuk Zaliha Omar in 2005 and filling in her big shoes in leading the Rehabilitation Medicine Academic Unit and the Medical Rehabilitation Department. I inherited 3 huge tasks in addition to the running of Masters of Rehab program and also the clinical services. The first task was to realize the proposal to establish an independent Department of Rehab Medicine. We love orthopedics, we love our colleagues in allied health, but we wanted our own department. So that became a reality in 2007. Second was the mammoth task of planning for the development of rehab medicine facilities in PPM. Thank you, Datin Latifah, for helping to train me as an administrator in getting me through. And thirdly, the creation of the degree of prosthetics and orthotics, a joint effort with the Department of Biomedical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, UM. Before this degree program, there was no structured training program for prosthetics and orthotics in this country. So remember what I said about capacity building, that we need to train not just the doctors, but other allied health members of rehabilitation as well. This journey was indeed challenging, but exciting, successful because of the people, because of the excellent teamwork, because of the excellent support from higher management and everyone I work with. These department milestones have indeed elevated and propelled rehabilitation medicine to where we are today. Because I was very much supported as a young head of department by the higher management. Being in higher management now, I remember that very well. And I try to support all head of departments the same way that I have been supported. Like most hospitals around the world, in 2020, PPM had to quickly change its operations in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Taking on the helm of the hospital during the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic was definitely a roller coaster ride. PPM, located in the epicenter of the epidemic in the country, was the first non-MOH hospital to be designated as a COVID-19 hospital. With experience, world-renowned infectious diseases team on board, we started our preparation as early as 6 January 2020. The Ad Hoc Emergency Preparedness Committee soon evolved into a task force led by Professor Datuk Dr. Adi Bakar Muzaman, which I then co-chaired as Deputy Director Medical. Later as Chairman of QAM, I became a member of the Greater Klang Valley Task Force and the National COVID-19 Rapid Response Task Force, an experience that I will always treasure. At the peak of COVID, almost half of our facilities were gazetted for COVID services. And ward and services underwent dynamic reorganization of our operations, where facilities were scaled up and down according to in-house and regional needs. So how did we do it? We did it through activating the learning health system in an academic medical center. And that is what I want to talk about in this lecture. How we adopted the learning health system approach in our COVID-19 response. LHS, or Learning Health System, is described as creating a virtuous cycle where data collected in routine care is studied for variations and best practices, and that knowledge feeds changes to the system to create performance. The COVID-19 pandemic, as I said, forced the activation of the learning health system within the healthcare system globally, nationally, and in hospital organizations. And it's not a new concept. Globally, this concept has been largely on an academic process, applied with lesser enthusiasm in the healthcare network. The COVID-19 pandemic changed that. And we were very lucky because we had a very strong public health department. Prof. Sanjay, Prof. Victor, thank you very much. Clinicians, public health scientists, and administrators work hand in hand to understand how to respond to the pandemic. And it also helped that we had a very data-driven pengarah of PPUM then, Professor Tunku Kamarul. We were able to do this through modeling incidents of COVID-19, looking at predictive models, being data-driven in decision-making, and being on the ground to understand clinical and organizational needs. This also accelerated our digital health architecture development. The dynamic, responsive, yet predictive decisions were made possible through the learning health system approach. What I learned in this phase of my life was the importance of creating a sense of shared purpose in all levels of leadership, including the grassroots leaders, through organizational learning practices as we seek to enhance safety and quality in a challenging and dynamic environment. I would like to record my thanks here to the COVID-19 Task Force, now led by Dr. Saleh, Deputy Director Medical, for their great contribution to the university and the community. The workplace challenges faced during the COVID-19 pandemic may seem like a distant memory, but there were many lessons learned on how we can ensure staff safety and protect their well-being through effective communication and being transparent, providing formal and informal support systems, including mental health support, employee assistance program, flexible working policies, and well-being resources. Workplace-related stress and burnout not only affects our healthcare workers, but it has a crucial correlation with patient safety. Indeed, in healthcare, a happy staff makes for healthy patients. I'm sorry if I've triggered, sad memories of COVID days in some of you here. The new staff lounge that was launched at Plaza at PPUM is a result of the realization that we did not provide enough time out space for our staff. PPUM being an academic medical center, safety and protection of staff also extend to all our students and trainees who we are responsible for. It was thus not a difficult decision to make for me and the COVID-19 vaccine committee to include our clinical year medical students in the list of frontliners receiving the previous vaccine. We wanted to keep our students safe. We did not want their studies interrupted, and it made sense that they should be part of managing COVID-19, a pandemic of a lifetime. We, in UM, can be proud to claim that we were the only medical school in the country that had a graduating batch in 2021, albeit delayed by 6 months. And it was because we vaccinated our students and their studies were not interrupted. You can see our medical students here in black scrubs in these photos being part of the vaccination team. Prof. Sharifah, if you are here, Puan Chu and the vaccination team, I dare say we did well. Patient journey is a term referring to a patient's experience throughout an episode of care, beginning at admission and concluding with hospital discharge for inpatients, and beginning at ambulatory service check-in to collecting medication for outpatients. Having had to map out patients' journey during COVID-19 as part of zoning exercise and infection control, we have extended this further, and the Patient Journey Task Force is now in place to improve patients' experience. With this, we have launched the Patient Journey app, which is available for download on both the Apple and Android. You can download it now on your phone if you like. The app will incorporate patient-reported outcome measures in the future that will add to PPUM's learning health system. So improving the patient journey must include the element of built environment. We did an accessibility audit in 2021, and much of the improvements in accessibility seen today is as a result of this initiative. Thank you, Dr. Nazirah, for contributing to this very important work. Prof. Sarah, the paper titled The Ancient Society Managed to Get It Right. Inshallah, we will too. I'm very proud to let you know that I finally visited the Perak Men in Lenggong, Perak recently. And next, telemedicine. And telemedicine and the current ongoing second phase pilot of virtual ward is part of our strategies in improving patients' experience and journey in PPUM. In preparation of the creation of virtual hospital, what we envisioned as UM's third hospital, UM Health at Virtual. We have to be at the forefront and provide care where our patients are. We need to access our patients. We don't need to wait for patients to access us. We need to access our patients and students as well in creative ways. We will integrate academic, research and clinical services through a digital platform involving all the health ecosystem in UM. Prof. Teng 8, thank you for this slide, and we shall make this happen, yeah? Work is underway in phase 1, and we look forward to the launch of UM Health at Virtual. Mooted in 2019, UM Health is an initiative aimed at aligning all the health entities in UM, PPUM, Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Dentistry, Faculty of Pharmacy, UM Specialist Centre, with an overarching vision to be an integrated, world-class academic health centre to enhance community as well as national and global health well-being. There are 9 focus areas: strategic initiative, people and organisation, governance, processes, finance, measures and motivators, culture, tools and technology, and facilities, which will leverage on the strength from the 5 entities to create a powerful health ecosystem in UM to build expertise and drive sustainability in medical education and healthcare. So UM Health people, we will make this happen too. And so that's the end of my lecture today, a story of my academic, administrative, and personal journey. And I have some slides to thank people. I would like to thank Datuk Zahir, Chairman of PPUM Board of Management, my Deputy Directors, Dr. Saleh, Prof. Azuran, Cik Khairul, Puan Chu. You all are very important to me. Can't do this without your support. Staff of Department of Higher Management, everyone in PPUM, thank you all. Thank you, Hidayat, Ayu, Etun, from the office for taking care of me. Prof. Tunku Kamaruzzaman, Encik Iskandar, Puan Habans, Puan Cik Zuraini, Prof. Zulkifli from the previous management. I've learned so much working with all of you, and thank you for your support and guidance. I'm indebted to the university for all the opportunities for growth given to me from my Asasi science days, undergraduate and postgraduate days, and now as an academic. I'm very proud indeed to be a thoroughbred, Prof. Yang. And my rehab family at UM, thank you very much for your support, motivation and tolerance for allowing me to venture out of my comfort zone and yet still keeping me close to all of you and not taking away my office. I will not be where I am without all of you, from the Jabatan SKS days to the current Jabatan Perubatan Pemulihan. I love all of you. And last but not least, my children, Jannah, Ezra, Alia, Daniel and Sarah, and the cucu in the womb. I'm going to be a grandmother soon, inshallah. I thank Allah every day for this wonderful gift. You are my greatest achievement. You are my joy and strength. If I had any regrets, was not to do this lecture sooner, earlier. For my mother, who passed away exactly a year ago, the pillar of my strength and my source of comfort. And with that, I put up the definitions of create. Each and every one of you can create, can innovate. Inshallah. If the will is there. And always look for the potential to rehabilitate in all that you do. And now we jump for joy because lecture is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nazirah, for your very inspiring lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Yang Farida back to the podium to summarize and conclude today's inaugural lecture.
Well, how was that? A story from womb, I would say. You didn't have a, well, there was no ultrasound on those days, I suppose. But a journey of, of professorial scholarship. And that we experienced with you and through you. And, I can just say, it is when you hear something like this, you realize that she has to be from University Malaya. She has to. Because that's why all the best brains are here. Woohoo! And Nazirah, Professor Nazirah, you exemplify that today. Very proud of you. I think your students are proud of you. I think your patients are proud of you. Your children are proud of you. And I'm sure your arwah, mom and father, must be very, very proud of you, as we all are. Congratulations, Professor Dr. Nazirah Hasnan. And thank you very much for being with us today and for letting us host this inaugural lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Yang Farida, for sharing the inaugural lecture today. And thank you, Professor Dr. Nazirah, for a very impressive, heartwarming lecture. To commemorate this today's event, we will have a photography session with Prof. Nazirah. First of all, I would like to invite the Dean and Prof. Nazirah to take photograph together. Official. Next, I would like to invite Professor Nazirah's family members to come on the stage for a photograph. I would now like to invite colleagues from the Department of Rehab Medicine to come on stage for a photograph, please. All those in purple, please. Finally, I would like to invite Prof. Nazirah the Dean to join the audience for a photograph. Mana dekan? Lepas sikit ke tangga. You can crowd the center? At the center and stand up. Alright, you guys can stand on the stairs please, so that you know it looks better. Kalau tidak ada lopong. Berdiri kat tangga. Ya, berdiri kat tangga biar semua boleh nampak. Kalau tidak dia kosong nanti. Yes. A bit more. Okey, nanti jap. Okey ya? Rapat sikit.